Hey, this is Jay Good Patriot. This is a video response to Citysurvivalist. You just posted a video about making your own weapons and getting into heating things up and pounding out a good design to make your own knives and such. As far as people sending your steel, first of all, I set out about a year ago doing the same thing that you're doing. I don't have the money to buy a forge and all the things that you need to go along with it. So we've been trying to, a friend of mine and I have been trying to find ways to do it on our own. If you look at my other videos, you'll see a video on a rocket stove. It's made out of bricks. It was a Chicago brick company, and that's what the streets used to be paved with. In fact, in my area, many of the streets are still paved with the cobblestone bricks. And you're able to, with the rocket stoves, create a very high heat, especially if you heat it up for a while and you put a lot of wood in there. You get a really good base with the coals, and it gets very, very hot. And one of the things we've been recently experimenting with are these skewers for shish kebabs and chickens and whatever you can put on a barbecue. They're stainless steel. They're about, let's see here, $2.49 a piece at a Middle Eastern store that we get them at. And not only for cooking, but you can heat them up, pound them out, and you instantly feel how much harder it is than when it's not pounded. Now, I don't know anything about this, so if I'm doing something incredibly stupid and wasting my time, I'm sure somebody out there will tell me. But the few experiments that we've done with this have come out pretty great. You can actually see, this one started out like this. I apologize for crappy camera. I can't even see what I'm looking or videotaping right now. But when you pound this on something, on an edge, it doesn't dent. When you pound this on an edge, it dents. So you can already tell that this is stronger than this. All you need is a table grinder . Or some form of grinder to put a nice edge on this. One of the things that we also experimented with, and you're going to need a good table grinder for this, is you get a chisel, a really good grade chisel, not necessarily for wood, but whatever kind of good chisel you can find. And when it's extremely hot, you can actually pound out the shape that you want it to be. So it's a little bit easier to cut it out or make a nice straight edge than it would be trying to sit there and grind it out. Another thing that another little trick that we learned was if you get a piece of cardboard, a good thick piece of cardboard, and draw out the shape of the knife that you want and make sure it's a good fit on your hand. And if you want it, then you can figure out if you want it bigger, smaller, but then you have to figure out what kind of a handle you're going to put on there, if any. You don't always need a handle, but obviously it helps when you're holding metal. So you can actually draw out the pattern that you want on a piece of cardboard, hold it in your hand, see if it's good, see the piece of metal that you have, and put it on there. These saw blades, as I know you already know, you can buy in 100 different sizes. If you find, or are still friends with people in the construction business, that use the big ones, the cement cutting ones, or the ones that they use to cut the streets. They're like 24 inches, they're 3 feet around in diameter. You know, if you could pick up a couple of those for free when they're all worn out, that'd be a good find. The other thing that we used before, and I wish I had the stuff that we made, it's in Indiana right now, unfortunately, but lawnmower blades. Lawnmower blades are already pretty much hardened, and you can cut your shape out of those pretty good. You can make 2 or 3 knives out of a good-sized lawnmower blade. But so that's my advice to you. The rocket stove that we use, we put a piece of conduit in the back of it, and picked this up at a garage sale, and it was pretty funny. It started out as a joke, but you know, this is for blowing air on a fire. Got this for $2. So put a piece of conduit in the back of the rocket stove and put this into the piece of conduit because I didn't want to ruin this. It's actually pretty cool. I like it. And my buddy would blow air into it, and we had our forge. My cigarette's going out. The other thing you can do is, if you do the rocket stove idea, made out of bricks, you can attach a 6-inch pipe. It's got to be obviously made out of metal, you know, a good thick piece of pipe. And then you can take a fan and put it in there, put it on the back of the pipe, and have somebody helping you. It really helps to have somebody helping you out. Doing it by yourself is fine. You can do it by yourself, but when you have somebody helping you out, it's 10 times faster to do everything. And then the fan, just pulling it away or moving it forward, not just in the speed, just pulling it away or pushing it forward, will determine the amount of air that goes in there, and it helps a great deal in getting your fire really, really hot. We've used oil to cool it. We've used water to cool it. I don't see a difference between the oil and water. But again, I haven't even really done any research on this. So this is something that these are things that we've done out of ideas that we've come up with on our own in our head, and have gone in that direction. So try the rocket stove out, made out of bricks. If you don't have a forge, put a hole in the back somehow, some way. Piece of conduit works fine, and get something to blow some air in there. And if you have somebody to help you, you can take your anvil, one person pounds, the other person pounds, bing bong, bing bong, bing bong, and it just goes so much faster. Then you cool it right away, you take out another one, put it in there, and you try to do as many things as you can at one time while you have your fire going, because you go through a lot of firewood. You go through a ton of firewood. And that's it. I'm going to make this a short response. I'm already babbling away. But this is a piece that my neighbor's wife, my neighbor passed away. He was a great guy, awesome guy. And it's just one of those sad stories where you couldn't have a better person, and he passed away. So his wife gave me a thing that he made in shop class when he was a teenager, which was 20 years ago. So, homemade weapon, there you go. There's a nice tip for that. But it's definitely doable, obviously. I don't know why I'm showing you that. I just think it's cool and good to have around, I guess. But he made that on his own, which I thought was neat. Anyway, yeah, so right up your alley, man. Whatever you find out, whatever information you find out, it'd be awesome if you post more videos on it, because that's one of the things that I'm very interested in. I don't have the money to buy all the nice stuff that everybody says you need. I mean, as you can see, whether the stainless steel works or not, we did all right on our own. So, I mean, you could see the thickness there and the thickness here. And I actually ground this down before we put an edge on it. Or I'm sorry, before we heated it up and pounded it out. And I don't know if you can see that or not. I guess you really can't, because it's hard for me to see unless I'm looking up close to it. But it took a while to grind this out. So I'm imagining it's going to take a lot longer when it's already hardened up to grind it even more. The one thing is that it is thinner. If you can see it on the camera, how thick it is here, if I can see that, or if you can see that, and how thick it is here at the tip. So we were going to take 2-inch diameter hickory, like an axe handle, like the smaller axe handle, cut it in half, put it on here and on one on the other side, drill holes through it, and then rivet it in place. And, we thought that might make a good handle. Or you could just simply wrap it in duct tape if you wanted to. But as far as homemade weapons go, that's a great thing. These, I did see a YouTube video a long time ago. I haven't been able to find it since I saw it. And a guy made a small knife about that big. He made a little leather sheath that goes on his belt. And it just comes off at a snap and he pulls it out. And he kept this hole in there so you can actually put a finger in there. And he just used it like a little shop knife, just to cut small things here and there. And I thought that was a really neat idea. On these bigger blades, you might be able to actually incorporate one of these teeth into your knife. You could do a nice round type thing. I don't know. Anyway, that's just some ideas. Good way to go. I'm very interested. So if I find anything, though, if you need some lawnmower blades. I know I have a few extra if you want me to send them to you. Once I get some cash, because I'm dead broke. And I'm gonna actually do a video on that. I've been living off my preps for 3 weeks now, my son and I. So we haven't gone to the grocery store in 3 weeks. But when I get some money, I will gladly send you a couple things that I have. All right. Talk to you later. Bye bye.